to another episode of the Membership IQ. I'm Sarah Sladek, your host, and today we're talking about rulers and rubber bands and what the heck do those two things have to do with your board of directors? Well, you're about to find out. Start with rulers. Way back in the industrial era, a couple centuries ago, although the industrial era still lives large in many of our associations, and I'll get back to that in just a moment. But way back in the 1700s, companies and industries realized that if we can get our people to make more widgets faster, we can be more productive, we can be more profitable, we can make more money. And if we bring in people with a lot of experience, that also ensures more productivity, more profitability, more money. Well, associations also followed this train of thought. It was the idea that if we can bring groups of people together to lead our organizations, and if they are all experienced leaders, that means we're going to be hugely successful and ultimately more productive and more profitable. Well, that board of directors methodology in context at that time was very, very effective. But today, under the pressures of disruption and social change and constant innovation, we have to question whether that is the best model for your associations going forward. So if you think about things like a ruler, that ruler mentality, that idea that we're going to take measured risks, we're going to be very inflexible. We're going to be very stern about our approaches to governance and how we run our association. Think about the idea of Longarch Thinking, which is this, it thrived for centuries, really since the beginning of time, this Longarch Thinking, meaning we're going to move slowly. We're going to be very methodical. We're going to take calculated risks. We're going to be slow to get things to market. And yes, we're going to be productive and profitable with all this wisdom, but we're going to take our time. Everything had a lot of time. Time was stretched out. This idea that you get a job and you work your way up the ladder. Very linear thinking. You do A and then B and then C. Again, very linear thinking. And by the way, between A and B and C, that could be a matter of years, possibly decades. So it's not uncommon for me to run into associations that say, well, our board members serve 10 and 12-year terms. I just was with a board this last week, and they were talking about their board serves 6-year terms. So they can serve 3 years per term. It's renewable up to 6 years. And they were saying that, I think that maybe that's long enough. Maybe we need to go a little bit longer. No, the opposite needs to happen, because we are no longer in an era of long arch thinking and development and looking at profitability and productivity with that telescopic lens. We've got to pull it back and look microscopic. We got to look at the fact that the world is changing so incredibly fast right now, that we need leadership models which can also move quickly and be adaptable and flexible. Hence the rubber band methodology. We can't be rigid. We can't be overly calculating and measuring. We have to be adaptable, flexible, nimble, responsive. We've got to get our governance to think and act fast. We've got to be on the cutting edge in the midst of disruption, constantly thinking on our toes, and making things happen. And the best way to do that is to have that rubber band governance approach. So how do you get there? Well, the very first thing you need to do is get rid of that idea of wisdom. Wisdom, ever since caveman days, really, everyone gathered around and learned from the elder of any given society. All the wisdom was held by the person with the most experience. Everyone gathered around, learned from that elder, and then it was passed on to another elder, and so on and so forth. But no, that is not the case anymore. Now, because of increased access to information and media and education, we now have generations with entirely different skill sets and worldviews, and everyone has something to learn and something to teach. Everyone has something to learn and something to teach. So we can't just build these boards of directors with the idea that we need to bring together a lot of experience and wisdom and people who have been in the industry for many, many years. No, we need cognitive diversity in our board leadership. In order to think and be like rubber bands, we need to build very cognitively diverse teams with different skill sets, different ideas, new people, a variety of backgrounds and ages, so that we are incredibly responsive, innovative, and attuned to what our members are looking for. When we only bring in leaders within a certain age group or a certain background or a certain level of experience, we get paper bag thinking. It's that idea that we're just yelling into a paper bag or into a cave, and everyone thinks the same, has the same viewpoints, and no innovation is happening. You're just talking amongst yourselves. We can and must do better in terms of our boards of directors. So we got to get rid of the hierarchy, but we also have to really think about who we're inviting in to serve in that incredibly important role. Previously, we were picking our boards of directors by title. Well, just because he's the CEO of blah, 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 then he should be on our board. But that's not the mindset that's going to bring our organizations into the future. That's going according to that ruler methodology, not the rubber band methodology. The right mindset will be comprised of leaders who are passionate, who love the organization, want to get in there and make meaningful change for it. They are leaders who act with humility, people who are willing to learn and to teach, people who like the idea of creating new things and innovating and coming in with a beginner's mindset, not a know-it-all, and leaders who act with a sense of urgency. They are very comfortable getting out of that long arch safety zone thinking to be the disruptors, to be on the cutting edge, to be in the trenches. They're not above it all. They're actually working side by side with your teams and really aligned with and communicating with your members. That's the kind of board members we want going forward. We have to really rethink how we're governing our organizations because it's not working. Membership declines, and we become increasingly, we've seen in recent decades this widening gap between the leaders of an organization and the members. And the members are increasingly speaking with their decisions. They're saying, we're not going to be part of this organization because it's not relevant anymore. And it's not relevant anymore because the leaders are so distanced from what the members want that it really doesn't matter whether you're following the rules, Robert's Rules of Order, or whoever's rules of order. It's not going to matter. The most important thing is to be relevant to what your members want and need. And that requires a different way of governing. That requires thinking and acting like a rubber band. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sarah Sladek. This is the Membership IQ. I urge you to continue to tune in and also check out my website, sarahsladek.com, as well as savetheassociations.com and xyzuniversity.com, so you can learn how to create an even better workforce for your association. All kinds of resources and tools. And again, I'm really grateful that you tuned in today. This is the Membership IQ.